Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Dan Hiscock, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Mark Pickering. This evening, we warmly welcome the delegation from Open Arms who are in attendance. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Service Clubs Association, and we welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Cundall Town Public School, visiting from Cundall Town, New South Wales. Now, if you're able, I invite you to all please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students and anyone else able to, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to driver Richard Robert Moxham. Richard Moxham was born on the 16th of October 1898 in Guildford, New South Wales. Known as Rich, he was the youngest son of Richard Moxham Sr. and his wife Louisa. Young Rich grew up in the suburbs of Sydney and was educated at William Street Public School in Granville, where he was an active member of the local municipal band. He went on to find employment as an apprentice blacksmith with Clyde Engineering Works. When the First World War broke out in 1914, Rich was also serving in the 20th Infantry Battalion as a member of the local militia. In 1917, Rich Moxham declared his intention to enlist in the Australian Imperial Force. Unsure what the future held for him, his parents allowed him to marry his sweetheart, Alma Moyle, at a small wedding in Liverpool that July. 1 month later, he joined the AIF and was allocated to the Australian Army Service Corps with the rank of private. Following a short period of training, he embarked for active service, sailing from Sydney on the troop ship Euripides on the 31st of October 1917. After several weeks at sea, Private Moxham arrived in Devonport, England, where he continued training alongside other recruits. He did not reach the Western Front until September the following year, when he joined his comrades in France. Shortly after, he was transferred to 4th Division Train, a logistical unit responsible for supporting the infantry with ammunition, food, water and equipment. Moxham was allocated the rank of driver, making him responsible for a variety of transport tasks, including ambulance driving, postal deliveries and carting materials. Moxham's arrival on the front came in the midst of a major Allied offensive, during which German forces had pushed back members to the final lines of defence. Moxham's unit supported members of the 4th Division in the final assault, which brought the end of the war closer. During this period, however, a greater enemy began to emerge as troops across the front began contracting a very serious form of influenza. Unhygienic conditions at the front, coupled with overcrowding and mass troop movements, exacerbated the problem and quickly began to spread. A virus which attacked the young hospitals was soon flooded with patients coughing up blood, exhibiting symptoms including sore throats, coughing, headaches and dizziness. On the 29th of October 1918, Moxham found himself amongst those hospitalised with the virus. Suffering from influenza, which had developed into pneumonia, his condition rapidly declined, and as the rest of the world celebrated the declaration of peace on the 11th of November 1918, driver Richard Moxham succumbed to the effects of his illness and died on the final day of the war. News of his death reached his family shortly after, including his infant daughter, who he would never meet. In a notice placed in the Sydney Morning Herald, they paid tribute to their son, husband and father in a few short lines. They read, "Greater love hath no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." Driver Richard Moxham was 20 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst other 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember driver Richard Robert Moxham, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Would you please stand for the reading of the ode and sounding of the last post?
They shall grow not old, are we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the growing down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
lest we forget. We'll leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, the staff and the volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. Wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.